views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Welcome to our New York State election Know Your Candidate's Voter Guide, where each candidate running for office in the Bronx this election cycle has been invited to share a statement with you, the voters. Watch BronxNet and your local media outlets, stay informed, and most importantly, make sure you head out to the polls on September 13th to have your vote count and voice heard. If you live in Senate District 32, including the neighborhoods of Castle Hill, Longwood, Melrose, Morrisania, Parkchester, West Farms, and Concourse Village, here are the candidates running in your district.
Hi, I'm State Senator Reverend Ruben Diaz. On Tuesday, September 13th, there were going to be primaries, Democratic primaries in the state of New York. I am running for re-election. I need for you to support me. Since I got elected to represent you in the senatorial district number 32nd, all the streets have been paved, every single train station has been rebuilt, the sidewalk have been paved. No one has built more houses in that district than me. My district, we have charter school, we have public housing, we have different development. So of all the senatorial districts in the Bronx, the 32nd senatorial district, the one that I represent, is where housing has been built, is where business has been growing. It's a miracle. So I need for you to re-elect me, so I continue working for you, with you, and for you. So, acuérdate, en septiembre 13, sal a votar y vota por Rubén Díaz nuevamente para ser reelecto al Senado. Desde que yo fui electo a representar el Distrito 32, las calles están renovadas, todas las estaciones de subway en mi distrito han sido renovadas, las aceras pavimentadas. No hay en otro lugar que se han construido más viviendas para el necesitado que en mi distrito. He estado trabajando por ti, quiero seguir trabajando por ti, por eso necesito que en septiembre 13, martes, septiembre 13, salgas a votar y votes por Rubén Díaz para el Senado, porque quiero seguir trabajando por ti, para ti y dependiendo de ti. Dios te bendiga, Dios te guarde.
Dear friends and fellow Democrats, your vote on September 13, the Democratic primary, will be extremely important for the future of the New York Democratic Party. The New York State Senate is evenly divided, 31 Democrats, 31 Republicans. The current senator from the 32nd District, Ruben Diaz Sr., a self-proclaimed conservative, has pledged his vote and support to the Republican Party. Most of us are Democrats. Ruben Diaz voted with the Republicans to deny the mayor control of New York City schools. Diaz supported the Republican practice of stop and frisk, declaring that most crimes are committed by blacks and Hispanics. Diaz supported Republican Rob Astorino for governor of New York. Diaz paraded the South Bronx with Republican Ted Cruz and defended the racist remarks of Republican Donald Trump. All of this is out there in the internet for the public to see. I am Elliot Quiñones. I am a proud Democrat and a candidate for the New York State Senate. I believe in the philosophy of the party of Jefferson and Madison and Roosevelt and John F. Kennedy and Mario Cuomo. I believe in the agenda of the Democratic Party to improve our public schools, to protect the homeland, to make quality health care accessible, and to respect our differences in religion, ethnicities, and lifestyles. Hillary Clinton is a big win in New York. A vote for Ruben Diaz will give control of the state Senate to the Republicans. Ruben Diaz has pledged his vote to the Republicans already. Hillary needs your vote. Governor Cuomo needs the Democratic Senate to push the Democratic agenda forward. I am asking for your vote to win the New York State Senate for the Democratic Party. Thank you.
If you live in Senate District 33, including the neighborhoods of Kingsbridge Heights, East Tremont, Crotona Park, Fordham, Belmont, Van Nest, Claremont, Highbridge, and Morris Park, here are the candidates running in your district.
This is Councilmember Fernando Cabrera, candidate for the New York State Senate in the 33rd District. This election will come down to one important issue. Who has the leadership track record to bring change to our community? I have brought over $50 million to our district. These funds have helped to improve technology, fix gyms, and auditoriums in our public schools. This funding has provided our children with after-school programming, and our children are even learning how to play violin. I have also funded St. James Park, Manhole Park, and Grand Avenue Park, providing new basketball courts, a soccer field, handball courts, and a children's playground. I have provided over $3 million for security cameras, the most of any councilmanic district. My opponent, on the other hand, has yet to bring any funding to our district. Of the two candidates in this race, I am the only one who was born in the Bronx, and I'm the only one to build a grassroots organization that has touched lives for the last 28 years. As a former college professor and a program director, I built the only online counseling graduate program in New York State and a mental health counseling program. I have chaired the Juvenile Justice Committee in the New York City Council, helping our youth turn their lives around. I was elected by my peers to be the co-chair of the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus in the New York City Council. I have passed 11 laws and resolutions, including the Tenant Bill of Rights, Crime My Bill, and the School Environmental Bill. This September 13, you will have the opportunity to elect your next state senator. I welcome you to compare my resume to that of my opponent. I'm ready to work for you. I'm looking forward to serving you and your family as your next state senator.
Hello, my name is Gustavo Rivera, and I've had the honor of serving as a state senator for the 33rd Senate District for the last 6 years. I'm here today once again asking for your support as I run for re-election. My last 3 predecessors have gone to prison for violating our community's trust, and that's why I have worked every day to bring integrity and honest leadership back to our district. I am extremely proud that during my time representing this community, I have been able to secure a $138 million loan to help transform the Kingsbridge Armory, $250,000 to rehabilitate 3 Mitchell-Auburn developments in my district, $35 million to improve Roberto Clemente State Park's waterfront, help thousands of constituents avoid eviction and get necessary repairs in their homes, provided hundreds of free health screenings, and raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. We've accomplished a lot for our community, but we are not done. We need to continue moving forward and fighting to bring the resources that we need and deserve. Now, the stakes for this election could not be higher. My opponent does not share the values that we hold dear. He is a former Republican in the pockets of wealthy landlords who look to kick Bronxites out of their homes, and hedge funders who use their money and influence against the people. He has a history of alarming campaign violations, support for abusive right-wing dictatorships, and has even been accused of stealing taxpayer money to enrich his own personal organizations. Please help me defeat him and make it clear that the Bronx is moving forward and not backwards. We still have a lot to accomplish, but I need your support on September 13th to keep fighting for our community. Thank you very much.
If you live in Senate District 36, including the Bronx neighborhoods of Norwood, Bedford Park, Williamsbridge, Co-op City, Wakefield, and Baychester, and the Westchester city of Mount Vernon, here are the candidates running in your district.
Hi, my name is Edward Mulrain, and I am running for the New York State Senate 36th District, which includes the Bronx and Mount Vernon. When people hear my name, they associate it with fighter and compassionate leadership. As a community activist, I fought against crime and drugs in the Wakefield and Baychester community in the Bronx, where I grew up and went to school. As a civil rights activist, I spent 12 years as president of the Williamsbridge NAACP, fighting against police misconduct and discriminatory hiring practices, registering thousands of voters, honoring teachers, and giving scholarships to college students. In my profession, as a city planner, I built and kept up the fight for affordable housing in the Bronx and Westchester County. And finally, as pastor of a church in Mount Vernon, I've helped hundreds of people from the Bronx and Mount Vernon with housing, employment, and family issues, from eviction to death of a child. I can go on and on to the break of dawn about being elected to the school board and suing New York State on prison-based gerrymandering, but time won't permit. I ask that you vote for Edward Mulrain for State Senate, which is synonymous with fighter and compassionate leadership. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jamal Bailey and I'm running for State Senate because I believe we get out of our communities what we put into them. And our community needs a champion who can get results. And I've proven through years of service that I get results. And I'm proud to have the support of Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson, our Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., Congressmember Elliot Engel, Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie, and many others who believe in me, my record, and my passion for improving people's lives. I'm a child of the Bronx through and through, from PS 83 in Morris Park, MS 181 in Co-op City, to the Bronx High School of Science. I currently raise my daughter Giada with my wife Giamara in Baychester today. You see, I've always been grateful for the opportunities that I've had here, and I've spent my entire life giving back. Beginning in college, I worked with Assembly Speaker Hastie on consumer safety legislation that became law. I earned my law degree from CUNY School of Law, and I've been able to use it to protect tenants from eviction. Through the years, I've also been a youth mentor to young men of color at my church, Butler Memorial United Methodist Church, and a strong supporter of programs that train job seekers for careers. As Community Relations Director for Speaker Hastie, I was able to help protect the Williamsbridge NAACP Early Childhood Education Center. I also led negotiations to create the very first YMCA in the Northeast Bronx, and I've also been able to deliver constituent services and help restore the heat to a senior citizen building desperately in need. You see, my wife and I, we want our daughter to go to quality schools where the focus will be educating the whole child, where she'll have opportunities to succeed wherever her passion may lie. We also want to make sure that we keep our community affordable so that our neighbors can remain our neighbors. I hope that as you consider your vote on September 13th, you're going to visit jamalbailey.com and learn more about me and my platform and my vision for the community. I've always believed that a tree is only strong as its roots, and you see my roots are firmly implanted in this district. And one of my favorite quotes is that you plant a tree under the shade which you may never sit, but you still plant that tree for the future. Because my candidacy is very forward thinking, and I'm already working for in positive change, and I've gotten results. So on September 13th, I hope that I can earn your support and your vote. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Q English, and I'm excited about running as your next state senator for District 36. Why me? I live and breathe this district. For one, you need to know that I am not part of the status quo. I am part of change. Too many have complained about what's not happening in our district. So we don't need any more offsprings of the status quo. We need change, and I'm the change that Mount Vernon and the Bronx need. Why me? No other candidate can match the record of accomplishments. I'm not speaking of what I'm going to do once I get to Albany. I'm talking about the fight I've already won on the ground before representing you. My record simply speaks to my ability to get things done, which I will continue to do. I created one of the first alternative to arrest programs in the Bronx. I'm the only candidate who can say they've helped decrease gun violence by almost 50% in my community. I created the first community-led People Police Academy that trains and orientate police officers that serve our community but don't live in our communities, and was named not only the first in the city but in the nation. My legislative experience can be seen in my fight and contribution to the language of bills that are now in law, such as the Living Wage Bill and the Sick Paid Leave Bill and the Trafficking and Victims Justice Protection Act. For economic development, only candidate who negotiated the historic community benefits agreement for the Kingsbridge National Ice Center, because it was important to me that if you're going to build in our community, then the jobs must be given first to our community. I believe in free state college tuition. I believe we can get more programs and resources to our seniors. I believe that hardworking individuals that own a home should not lose it because they can't afford the taxes. I believe we can reduce the incarceration rate of our children and create jobs. I believe that women and children have the right to be free from the violence and assault that has perpetrated our district, and I believe I'm the one to get that job done. On Tuesday, September 13th, Bronx and Mount Vernon voters, please vote Q English for State Senate. I am the change you want to see.
Praise the Lord. My name is Pamela Hamilton Johnson. I am a candidate for the New York State Senate seat in the Bronx and Mount Vernon, District 36. Hola, mi nombre es Pamela Hamilton Johnson. Soy uno candidate para el asiento del Senado del Estado in New York, Bronx, Mount Vernon, 36th District. I was born and raised in a Bronx NYCHA development and graduated from Pace University with a BS degree. I'm a mother of 3 and a wife of an MTA bus operator. My experience as a community advocate is rooted and grounded in fighting for youth, education, and jobs. I am the founder and executive director of a nonprofit organization that provides workforce development and after-school programs. We employ seniors, veterans, youth, and adults that have been incarcerated. Our community needs an honest leader with integrity, someone like me. I am one of us for all of us. I will fight for people like you. I will never forget where I came from, and I will put ordinary people before special interest groups. It is time for change. As a former president of DYCD's Neighborhood Advisory Board, we gave out $252,000 to programs like the RAIN Senior Program and after-school programs for students. I will support juvenile justice and campaign finance reform. As a parent leader, I am already working for you every day. As a former school board president in District 11, we opened 6 schools in 8 years. That brought in $449 million into the district. I fought the Board of Education for collating a school in our district and won. I will advocate in Albany for our children to get a quality education. I will work on getting the Contract for Excellence monies and support a bill to get the New York State Lottery scholarship money back into the hands of our students. Just remember to vote for Pamela Hamilton Johnson on September 13th.
Thank you, BronxNet, for making this video for the voters of the 36th Senatorial District, encompassing the Bronx and Mount Vernon. Last night, I attended the Marcus Garvey celebration in Co-op City with over 75 people, celebrating the life and legacy of one of the greatest organizers on the planet. He organized several million black people under one banner. I want to thank my fellow Co-op City residents for being there, and I want to thank my fellow District 36 State Senate candidates because they are clearly establishing an environment, if you may, for this election season that is based on fairness and respect. State Senator Ruth Hassel Thompson has for many years served this community, and I am deeply happy to be a fellow member at Mount Vernon's Grace Baptist Church with her. But today, I announce my candidacy for New York State Senate of the 36th District, and I am due so counting on the support of Co-op City and the Reverend Al Sharpton and the National Action Network. I am a doctor, educator, and civil rights activist running on a platform best summarized as fighting for community health and quality of life via collaboration, education, and participation. The Bronx is ranked 62 last out of 62 counties in health outcomes in the state of New York. Mount Vernon is right there with them. I can do something about that. Health is influenced by every aspect of how and where we live: access to affordable housing, safe neighborhoods, job training, and quality early childhood education, even more than access to medical care. But access to these opportunities varies county to county. This limits choices and makes it hard to be healthy. I want to end this with a quote by Martin Luther King, a great leader. He said something really special, connecting the theme of injustice to health care. He said, of all the forms of inequality, injustice in health care is the most shocking and inhumane. I deeply believe in that. The Democratic primary is September 13th. We can all be a part of making history and making change, and I think we can do that in a respectful manner. Thank you.
If you live in Assembly District 78, including the neighborhoods of Fordham Bedford, Kingsbridge Heights, Bedford Park, and Belmont, here are the candidates running in your district.
Hi, this is Democrat Aisha Bravo, candidate for the New York State Assembly in the 78th District, which includes the neighborhoods of Fordham, Belmont, Kingsbridge Heights, and Bedford Park. I am running because I was born and raised in our community, and I am now raising my family here. For far too long, our community has been represented by an absent and ineffective assembly member who doesn't attend local community meetings or fight for us in Albany. It is time for change. We deserve better. As an active member of both Community Board 7 and the 52nd Precinct Council, I know the issues facing our neighborhoods. I will fight to bring back resources so our kids have great schools, our streets are clean and safe, our seniors have dependable services like open senior centers and an access to ride. I will also fight for tenants who live in deplorable conditions run by greedy landlords who refuse to make any repairs. But most of all, I will be your advocate, and my office will be open and accessible to everyone who needs help. Again, I am Aisha Bravo, Democrat for the New York State Assembly, and I humbly ask you for your vote on Tuesday, September 13th. Thank you.
If you live in Assembly District 84, including the neighborhoods of Mott Haven, Port Morris, Melrose, The Hub, Longwood, the Lower Concourse, and the Hunts Point sections of the South Bronx, here are the candidates running in your district.
My name is Jackson Strong. I am a Democratic candidate to represent the 84th District in the New York State Assembly. The 84th District is comprised of Highbridge, Grand Concourse, Melrose, Mott Haven, Port Morris, Woodstock, and Hunts Point. I decided to run to represent my community to make reforms that will bring down the cost of housing and free up scarce public resources to invest in our public services, particularly with respect to education, transportation, and parks and recreation. My background is in architecture, transportation, city planning, and public policy, and I want to use my expertise to make significant improvements and reforms that will benefit each of us in our community. My opponent, Carmen Arroyo, has represented this district for over 2 decades and has done little to improve our community. We need higher quality representation with an understanding and experience in urban development so we can accommodate our growing population and provide the high quality public services we deserve while keeping housing costs down and improving housing conditions for NYCHA properties. I urge constituents of the 84th District to participate in the Democratic primary election on the 13th of September. While these elections are often ignored, especially here in the Bronx, they are usually the most important decision we can make for our community. I look forward to the opportunity to work extremely hard on behalf of my community to create an environment of abundant opportunity and higher standard of living for all.
If you live in Assembly District 85, including the neighborhoods of Soundview, Clayson Point, Longwood, and the Hunts Point sections of the South Bronx, here are the candidates running in your district.
Hi, I'm Assemblymember Marcos Crespo here at the BronxNet studios to tell you why I'm seeking your support to run again as your Assemblyman in the 85th Assembly District. I've had the honor of representing our community since 2009 when I took over in a special election. It was a quick change and there was a lot of work to be done, but we got it done. If you think back to these years and look at the legislative work that we've done, legislation that supports our homeowners and provides discounts for preparing for disasters like we had at Sandy, or our legislative efforts to ensure that we have the proper backup systems and energy systems to deal with another storm. We did that work together. Whether it was fighting for our schools and making sure that we had more choice for our parents in our community, or whether it was the record amount of funding that we've received for education aid in New York City because of the work we did in Albany. Or you can talk about our fight for criminal justice, the fact that we have prevented things from happening that impact the minority youth. There's so much to look at. Infrastructure and the work we've done to improve our parks, to create better access, the $100 million that I secured in our state budget to make sure that we change the Sheridan into a boulevard that allows community access to parks like Starlight Park. There's so much more to do. We've done it in Hunts Point at the intersection of Bruckner and Hunts Point where we improve conditions for pedestrians and drivers. And there's yet so much more to do. And that's why I'm looking for your support. That's why I want to run for re-election, to make sure that we continue the effort, to make sure that we continue the fight for funding, for fairness, for programs for our children, to prevent abuses against our seniors like with their Medicaid prescriptions, which is why I sponsor legislation to prevent price gouging of medication in New York State, or to make sure that working families have a real opportunity to live in a safe community and a community they can be proud of, where they can afford their homes and where their children have access to great programs like the free canoeing on the weekends in Starlight Park, in Concrete Plank Park, or Hunts Point Riverside Park. There's so much more to do. Our efforts to bring more affordable housing, our efforts to expand programs throughout our community for our youth, and initiatives like the Blue Pilot Safety Program that we will do with Mayor de Blasio all across our parks to make sure that if you're in the far end of Soundview Park, you don't have to be afraid to be out there on your own. There's so much more to do, but we can do this together. So I'm seeking your support this Tuesday, September 13th, to re-elect me, Assemblyman Marcos Crespo, as your Assemblyman in the 85th Assembly District.
If you live in Assembly District 86, including the neighborhoods of University Heights, Fordham Heights, West Bronx, and Mount Hope, here are the candidates running in your district.
Hi, my name is Victor Pichardo, and I am the sitting Assembly member for the 86th Assembly District. For 3 years, I have dedicated my time to serving my neighbors. Many of my constituents struggle on a day-to-day basis to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads, amongst other issues. My main priority has always been to make sure that housing remains affordable, wages continue to increase with the cost of living, and that every person is allowed the opportunity to better themselves. During my time, I have been able to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, as well as secure funding for My Brother's Keeper initiative, paid family leave, and homelessness prevention through the State Assembly. I have fought for my neighbors, and I will continue to fight for them to ensure that resources are brought back to the Bronx. I'm State Assembly Member Victor Pichardo, and this Tuesday, September 13th, I'm asking for your vote and your support that day in order to make sure that we continue to fight for Bronx families.
Saludos. Mi nombre es Héctor Ramírez, candidato a la Asamblea por el Distrito 86 del Bronx. Si Dios lo permite y con el voto de los residentes de nuestro distrito, el 13 de septiembre seré electo como su nuevo asambleísta y juntos iniciaremos los trabajos para mejorar la calidad de vida de uno de los distritos más pobres de los Estados Unidos. Los residentes de este Distrito 86 están pasando por muchos problemas. Las personas que trabajan no ganan lo suficiente y tienen 2 y 3 trabajos para poder pagar las altas rentas y traer el pan a la mesa para el sustento de sus familias. Nuestras calles están llenas de basura y los parques abandonados. Nuestros niños y jóvenes sienten temor al salir a las calles por el alza en la criminalidad. El desempleo es agobiante y producto de la mala calidad de vida se han incrementado enfermedades como la diabetes, asma, depresión, etc. Si usted vive en este distrito, usted sabe que digo la verdad y eso podemos cambiarlo. El 13 de septiembre, votando por Héctor Ramírez, gracias, que Dios les bendiga.
If you live in Assembly District 87, including the neighborhoods of Parkchester, Castle Hill, West Farms, Van Nest, Unionport, and Stratton Park, here are the candidates running in your district.
Hi, my name is Pamela Stewart Martinez. Who am I? I was born in the Bronx. I'm a mom of 7, ages 24 to 8. I'm co-president of a citywide education council in New York City. One thing I've learned being on my educational council is that not just our children need our support, but their families and the communities that they reside in need our help. From actual income-based rentals to more affordable homeownership opportunities, from minimum wage to self-employment programs, we need to realign our focus and really address the needs of our seniors when it comes to rental increases, accessoride, Meals on Wheels, prescriptions, along with health aid help. But we should never forget our undocumented families just trying to make positive contributions to the greatest city I know while here raising their families. I would like to introduce a more amicable immigration process. I want to help bring these goals into existence as the next state assembly person for the 87th District. Thank you for allowing me some of your time today.
In 2012, I was elected as the Assemblyman in the 87th Assembly District by constituents who wanted me to improve the lives of their families. Since I was elected, I have sponsored or co-sponsored nearly 500 bills for legislation, bills that protect our children from sexual predators, from gun violence, and help our children suffering from asthma. I have worked to ensure that the state of New York deliver the over $30 million owed to the children attending public schools in our district. I have dedicated a lot of time trying to improve our health. Just recently, I awarded a $250,000 grant to the Stevenson Health Center. I've stressed the importance of taking care of our seniors and creating an environment where they feel safe and secure. As the co-chair of the Criminal Justice Committee for the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, Asian Caucus, I've worked to improve a criminal justice system to make it fair and colorblind. As part of my goal of bringing more economic development into our district, I've worked with the economic engines in our community like the Bronx Zoo, our local businesses, and colleges so that they may bring more jobs into our community. I work closely with Mayor de Blasio to bring UPK for our children and funding for after-school programs. I'm so proud that every year since elected, I've sponsored the Summer Reading Challenge program and the annual Spelling Bee. I've also made it a point to reach out to our community. Over the last 4 years, many of you have seen me knocking on your doors, visiting you at your homes, at your senior centers, and at your schools. I work closely with the Parkchester residents to block the 15.19% increase in their maintenance. Now, while I believe everyone has the right to housing, I oppose the oversaturation of homeless shelters in our Bronx communities. That is why I work closely with the Castle Hill community and the City of New York to block the creation of a homeless shelter without the input of our local families. I've also worked closely with your precinct commanders, precinct councils, and the community to improve relations with the NYPD. Now, while there's more work to be done, I promise you that I will continue to make our community the best place in the world to live, the envy of the Bronx, so that our children can get the best education in the world, so there is a significant drop in crime, and that affordable housing is the norm and not the exception. That is why I ask that on September 13th, you go out and vote to re-elect me as your Assemblyman in the 87th Assembly District. Thank you, and God bless.
Bronxites, there are local primary elections taking place on September 13th, and you have the opportunity to learn about the candidates and issues in your community on your channel's BronxNet. Watch Bronx Talk for a series of informative debates, airing now through this election cycle at 9 p.m. BronxNet is also televising the Know Your Candidates voter guides on BronxNet Channel 67 Optimum 33 Files and on BronxNet.tv. You can also follow our social media pages at BronxNet TV. Stay informed, and most importantly, make sure you head out to the polls on September 13th to have your vote count and voice heard.